Hey, this is Matt once again. What about another videos? Another paid request. This time for Lucas. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, tier lists, re-reviews, reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, again, excuse all the background noise, fans, just it's hot as hell, roosters, chickens, just neighbors, everything got them all out. So bear with me on that. But Jurassic Park, I don't know what happened to my older review of it, but always nice to talk about it again. Because it is a classic movie. It is a classic Steven Spielberg movie. I do quite like the first Jurassic Park. I definitely think it's the best Jurassic Park. And you could argue easily that you never really needed sequels and you never needed a franchise. Although I do like Jurassic Park 3. A lot of people don't. And Fallen Kingdom has a couple fun B-movie things to it. But there's a lot of parts of the franchise, especially Dominion and Jurassic World, like that I just didn't care for. Now, I never read the novel, Michael Crichton's novel. I do know it's different from the movie, because the novel is much more violent. I think Ian Malcolm's character gets killed. I think Richard Attenborough, the owner of Jurassic Park, I think he gets eaten up by the dinosaurs. I think some of the death scenes are more vicious. From what I understand, is Ned. I think that guy gets more eaten up. Much more of an R-rated, vicious story. But Steven Spielberg wanted to make it a bit more for kids. Still, hopefully, scary enough for people. I think at one point he said, "Let me see what I could do for land, what I did for water in Jaws." And I know there are a few other people up for the task. James Cameron wanted to do a Jurassic Park movie. And later on he said, well, I guess I could not do what Steven Spielberg did because he made it, more for kids. My Jurassic Park would have been like Aliens. I will admit, despite my thoughts on James Cameron today, at this time, this was the James Cameron of Aliens and The Abyss, which I enjoyed. The Terminator. After this, 94, he had True Lies. It would have been really cool to see what he would have done with Jurassic Park. I mean, it was going to be like Aliens. And, that was a time he was open to making these R-rated movies. And he definitely knew technical aspects and skills. It would not look cheap. I like Jurassic Park, but man, I would have been really curious to see his version of Jurassic Park. Would have been like a big budget version of Carnosaur. Just really like the Carnosaur films, unless you count some cheap sci-fi channel film. It's hard to get an R-rated dinosaur movie. Again, the only way is like a low budget, because nowadays people think of dinosaurs as just for kids, and if it's got to be a big budget film, then it has to be PG-13. I mean, they just did one, 65 or something, that completely bombed with Adam Driver, which I heard was just, mediocre. I wish they would do like a big budget, R-rated, with practical effects. I'd get like Carnosaur, but with a bigger budget, a bigger body count. But Carnosaur 1 sucks. I like Carnosaur 2 and 3. By the way, can we get Carnosaur 2 and Carnosaur 3 on Blu-ray? Especially Carnosaur 3 with Scott Grimes from My Demon Lover. I really want that film on Blu-ray. Can we get that, man? But anyway, Steven Spielberg directed it, and he had a few people up for certain roles. Apparently, like before Sam Neill, Spielberg wanted Harrison Ford. Which makes sense. I mean, Harrison Ford would have been great as Dr. Alan Grant. Now, I think Harrison Ford has joked, or he was serious, that, well, Spielberg never offered it to me. And Spielberg, yeah, I did, and you said no. Now, I have to wonder, this was 93 when it came out. That's also the same year The Fugitive came out with Harrison Ford, so I'm glad he did The Fugitive, because that's a damn good film. So that might have been why he didn't do it, which makes sense. Other people up for the role, I think William Hurt, which I like William Hurt, may he rest in peace, but I like Sam Neill more. And William Hurt said no, I don't want to do a bid film. Which is ironic, because later on he did The Incredible Hulk. I just he didn't want to, and then Lost in Space. So I guess he must have just kicked himself in the foot, kicked himself in the ass, going, "Man, I could have been in that." And maybe that's what made him do Lost in Space later. He's like, "I'm not going to do this again," and then sadly that was Lost in Space the movie, which was an awful film and bombed. But it is ironic that he didn't want to star in Jurassic Park, but then he went on to star in Lost in Space for big budget films. Okay. Wasn't really the best choices. Sorry, William Hurt. And then Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell was up for the part. But something about he wanted too much money, and so they said, well, we're not going to pay you. And then ultimately they got Sam Neill. Now, I like Sam Neill, but man, Kurt Russell starring in Jurassic Park as Dr. Alan Grant, that would have been awesome. But apparently Kurt wanted too much money. Other people for like the Laura Dern part, I think there's talks of like Sandra Bullock and other people, but Spielberg wanted Laura Dern, and she did a good job in the role. Ian Malcolm, I think actually they were looking at the Jim Carrey, believe it or not, and apparently he auditioned for it and did a good job, but the casting person had their eye on Jeff Goldblum, so they went with him. And Jeff Goldblum did a wonderful job, but Jim Carrey, that would have been interesting. I think he could have pulled it off. Apparently, Christina Ricci was up for the girl, the hacker, and they went with Ariana Richards, who at that point she was in Tremors and Spaced Invaders, that film. Richard Attenborough's character, Dr. Hammond, I think Spielberg wanted Sean Connery, which made sense, worked with him on Last Crusade, but I don't know why Sean Connery said no, I guess just because, and that. I think that was around the time he was doing films like Medicine Man and other stuff, so maybe he was busy, but they got Richard Attenborough. But I mean, the cast did do a really good job. And people know the story of Jurassic Park. What makes the film work is, number one, as a great semblance of the top-notch special effects, especially for its time, both Stan Winston and ILM. You have really good cast together that worked well with their chemistry together. Like Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum, when the three of them together in the truck, and you tell that Jeff Goldblum's trying to put the moves on Laura Dern, and Sam Neill, he doesn't want to say anything, but you tell he's getting a bit more agitated because of this. That worked well. You tell where he's doing this chaos theory, and he keeps like touching her hand, and she's like, "Oh well, it's cool." You see Samuel like, as it was, "Stop touching her." The idea is a very interesting idea. What if we got DNA, we were able to clone, and then bring about dinosaurs, and it was going to be a tourist attraction. Bring these people in to do like a field test before opening to the public. Things go wrong. And it does become a bit of a horror action film. Yes, PG-13, but I mean, there's still some vicious moments. I mean, the way the sound effects of the raptors and people being pulled in at the beginning while the guy's yelling, "Shoot her! Shoot her!" Or the hunter, clever girl, and turns and there's a raptor, and it's the sound effects. They work well in painting the picture of how vicious the attack is. Samuel L. Jackson has an early role. Smoking a cigarette going, "Hold on to your butts." And I guess apparently they were going to shoot his death scene, but they didn't have time or something. So that's why you just see his arm. It's still like a disembodied arm, bloody. So there's still some, scenes pushing the PG-13. You have the T-Rex eating the goat and swallowing it up. You have the lawyer gets eaten up by the T-Rexes, ready to tear him apart. Well, actually, one T-Rex, I should say. Gets swallowed up by the damn... swallows up the damn lawyer. And, like, throughout the film, there's a lot of moments that worked very well. You know, Sam Neill's character, I like Sam Neill as an actor, liked him in the Mouth of Madness, liked him in Event Horizon. I know, sadly, he went through some kind of cancer or something. Thankfully, so far, it's in remission. Some blood cancer thing, but thankfully he's in remission. Let's keep it that way. And I liked his allegory. I liked how passionate he is about digging up these fossils. You have this kid talking smack to him. And I recognized the kid. The kid was Jacob, the little kid in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, the dream child, who was Alice's son. He's the one that pukes Freddy to death. Maybe because I hated that movie. And it's not the kid's fault, but I'm just thinking of that movie. And so when he's talking smack, oh, raptors sound like big chickens. And then that pisses Sam Neill off. He's like, okay. And he frightens his kid. Well, you see, they could do this, they could do that. And you see this claw? They could, eviscerate your stomach and drip your intestines. And it just scares the shit out of the kid. You think any second I was going to piss his pants. And then Laura Dern's like, geez, Grant. And then he's like, you want to have one of those? And she's like, well, I don't want that kid, but yeah, maybe a kid one day. That's probably one of the only positive things I could say about Jurassic Park Dominion is they got Sam Neill and Laura Dern back together. That's like one of the few things I could say well done by Dominion. Jurassic Park Dominion, I know that review's gone. Some stupid thing happened with the video, so it was gone. But that, honestly, the whole thing with the bug, like the fact that you got these characters back, and the whole story's a big bug hunt. Not even like the good aliens bug hunt, but literally it's locust, focused fucking bug hunt. Just piss on a brick to use those characters in such a crappy way. Lame fucking subplot thing. Anyway. It does capture the wonder and the awe that people would have seeing dinosaurs in the modern age. And for the time, the visuals, CGI effects were pretty well done. And then John Williams' score. John Williams' score definitely opens up the awe and wonder. When Sam Neill and Laura Dern first see these dinosaurs and they see the open plains of Triceratops and Brontosaurus and all this stuff. Yes, I know nowadays people... Well, first, there's some people that say dinosaurs never existed. There's a lot say that, well, dinosaurs would not look like that. They would actually have a lot more feathers and stuff. And whatever, it's a movie. And yes, I do believe dinosaurs existed at one point. What exactly they looked like, that's up to, I guess, your thoughts, but... But John Williams' score, that... That sells the awe and wonder very well in the proceedings. And Jeff Goldblum, he's a lot of fun. He's very entertaining. He, in a way, speaks for the audience. Yeah, when they're having the meeting. And it's a line that you could take for so many other attributes of so many stuff today. Just because you could doesn't mean you should. That whole speech, you can use that for so many things, and it's a very fair, smart point. I'm glad they didn't kill his character off like in the book. I mean, sadly, he was never as well utilized in other movies as he was in this. That was one of the disappointing things about The Lost World, Jurassic Park 2, is that, oh wow, he gets to be the star now, but I don't know if it's either A, that character just works better as a supporting role, or B, they could never write him as well as they did in the first film. I mean, he came back in what bit parts of Jurassic World and Dominion. Again, they just could not write him as well as he in the first movie. I don't know what the deal is. It just some of the lines just felt more funny and witty. Yeah, but the Pirates of the Caribbean, they don't eat the tourists. It must must go faster when they're being chased by the T-Rex. Like, there's lines that people still mention today that Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum's character, says. Now, it's a shame that within this film he gets injured, and then he's pretty much in the backdrop for the rest of the movie. He's injured, he's pretty much has to lie down in this room, and he's not in the action anymore. And that is a shame. I mean, he really doesn't get to do anything other than talk in a walkie-talkie. Now, yeah, it makes sense because he's so injured, so he wouldn't be doing tons of physical activity, but just, again, that is a shame that... I'm glad they kept him alive. It's just a shame that, again, he doesn't really have much to do after that. But they do give him a good hero moment, get the kids, use it as a distraction with the flares so that Sam Neill could get the two kids. And the practical effects are insanely well done and still hold up to this day. When you see the T-Rex turn and roar, and you could tell that's a real thing, and the rain's dripping on it, you could tell that's in the same frame as the characters. The bit where it swallows up the goat, and when it turns, and you see, like, I think Sam Neill, the back of his head, like over here, and you see the T-Rex. That still sells that whole sequence perfectly. And this is what they didn't realize with some of the later sequels, is that the practical effects really help sell the illusion. When you make everything CGI, it lessens it. Now, to be fair, some of them did have some good practical effects. Like Fallen Kingdom had some. So, not all of them had wall-to-wall CGI. Like Jurassic Park 3 has some good practical effects as well. I guess I'm talking more of Jurassic World. Felt like you had more CGI. And you really felt bad for Sam Neill's character and this adventure with these two kids where, like, if either the worst has happened, it hasn't. So, it's like they gotta go off into the trees, and they gotta shimmy down so that the fucking car doesn't fall on them. Then they gotta get right out of the way. They gotta climb this electric fence. Then these wannabe ostriches are ready to run them over. And especially the two kids. And the two kids did a good job. They were not annoying. They were not irritating. Ariana Richards, that kind of thing that it was utilized a lot is that you have the little kid who happens to be a hacker. RoboCop 3 did that. You had the little girl that was able to hack into Ed 209. But I thought the actress did a better job here. I thought that just within the confines of the better movie, it was easier to swallow, so to speak, that she just happened to be a hacker. Again, these kids just go through the ringer with, being stalked in the kitchen. It was one of the more famous scenes in the movies, the whole kitchen bit. Which, again, the CGI is pretty good for 1993. And then, again, you intermix with some practical effects. And you just hear the raptor noises that just have a very scary doom and gloom feel to them. And it's attempts at suspense during the whole scene. And again, there's some nice pieces of direction. Like when Sam Neill's trying to put the door up and he rises, and as soon as he rises through the porthole thing, you see the raptor's face. And it gives that ooh shit moment for the audience. Again, that's a nice bitch of having practical. You have a practical head, practical claw trying to get Sam Neill's hand. The characters, like I said, nice to see like Sam Jackson doesn't have a lot to do, but it's nice to see him before he really broke through. Pulp Fiction, Die with a Vengeance, and so forth. Ned, I forget the actor's name. Wayne Knight, I want to say. He would be in Space Jam. He was Michael Jordan's manager in Space Jam. You didn't say the magic word. He's a guy that just. He was a prick, but he was kind of like a fun prick to watch. You're waiting for him to just come up, but he's not. That's a fine line to do where there could be times where he's so annoying or so irritating you want to turn away from the screen waiting for him to leave. But because of his sense of humor, because of we got Dodge here, he really sold being that prickly character. And then when he does his comeuppance with one of my favorite designs of the dinosaurs, which was made up for the movie. I can't think of their name, but the spitters, as I call them, because I like that thing that comes up around them, and they spit this gunk on you. I know they brought them back for Dominion. I don't care, because it was too little, too late. And it was, well, hey, here's a reference. You remember this? But I did like that dinosaur. The ending of the film where the raptors are surrounding them. Yes, I mean, it's one of those cliches that gets annoying when I see it in movies where the luck factor. They just happen to be at the right place at the right time, and at that right time, the T-Rex got to the thing that no one heard because it established that you could hear the thing. The great scene when they're in the vehicle and the water, and you see the water shake, and you hear that boom. What is that? Boom. So they're able to hear all that, but in this scene, they're not able to hear or feel a T-Rex approaching into the fucking compound. Yes, I know they were busy with the raptors and stuff, but with the way they made it look like, it seemed like that'd be a bigger sound, especially when it got that close to grab a fucking raptor right in front of them. And like no one heard or noticed this thing coming in. Was it a ninja? Is that a small fucking dinosaur? It's a big fucking thing, but T-Rex is a ninja, what can I say? I can understand, I mean, I would have loved to have seen a big dinosaur movie where people, like Dino Crisis, the video game, you get shotguns and you blow the shit out of dinosaurs and you blow them away, you blow them up. I would love to see more. I want to see that movie. There's a guy on YouTube. I forget what he called. I think Dinosaur Hunters. He edited like a 2-hour movie using clips from various movies. That was like Arnold and Stallone and Van Damme and all these guys fighting dinosaurs. Now, granted, like the dubbing of the actors wasn't the best, and he took the story into like a bit of a pretentious route by the third act. But it's worth a watch with the insane editing he does, where it really does look like these guys are shooting and fighting the dinosaurs. Van Damme's kicking a raptor in the face. It's a great to watch as an editing job. And he's able to put these characters into this realm. Definitely recommend it for that. I even edited like my own fan version that made it more like an action film. I have it on my hard drive. But that's a worth a watch. I forget. Yeah, it's called like Dinosaur Hunters or something. The movie. And I really, like I said, other than, yeah, part of me wishing for that more action, guns a blasting, bloody dinosaur movie, I really don't have any issues with the movie. It's very well done, it's well handled, the cast do their jobs well, great score by John Williams, and you could easily make the argument that you never needed any more movies. As much as I like Jurassic Park 3, it never really got better than this film. But they decided to make a lot more anyway. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.